We can get queued up here in just a second. And doing a sound check real quick. If you guys could, in your questions pane, go ahead and type in if you can hear me and if you can see my screen. All right, getting some feedback. Looks like people can see and hear okay. For any of you out there that may not be able to hear my voice, go to, if you either can't see the screen, one of those sorts of things, there is a website, gotomeeting.com, where they have some tech support in there. It's hard for us to determine on an individual machine what might be going on, but we're getting a lot of feedback here. It looks like the broadcast side of everything on our end is good, which means that from our office here in Leesburg, Virginia, out towards your way in the internet, things seem to be working pretty well. Again, welcome everyone. My name is Dave Kappert. I am going to be facilitating tonight's meeting, and Tony Mala is going to be presenting a 30-minute marketing presentation. Again, this is the first presentation of 2014. ASE tries to hold these webinars on a regular basis throughout the year on various topics. If there's anything that comes to mind that you'd like to hear about from ASE, go ahead and pop it in your questions pane. Again, we have Tony Mala tonight. He is ASE's Vice President of Communication. He's going to be presenting. And again, I'm Dave Kappert. I'm going to be facilitating this and working on the tech guy and moderating your questions. Okay, you're not able to speak with us tonight, but you are able to interact with us. There are two panels of primary concern for you. We have a viewer window on the left, which is the content of the presentation itself. And then there's also a control panel. And in that control panel, that's the most important thing for you is a questions pane. You can type your information in there, and that is what we're going to be using to monitor what it is that you're saying back to us and your questions and so on and so forth. If you have a question that comes to mind, pop it in the questions pane. I'm not sure we'll get to it right the instant that you ask the question because we do kind of want to maintain some continuity in the presentation, but we'll do our best to get to your questions as we move throughout the presentation this evening. I just want to talk about mobile devices briefly. We now have about 40% of our attendees using these devices, and that's both on the Android side and on the Apple side. And these devices work real well to watch a presentation. I mean, you can now even communicate with us. We're not going to have any polling questions tonight, but these apps are now totally fully functional. The only thing I will mention to you is that attending this presentation on a mobile device, if you're using your wireless carrier, is going to cost you some data. So if you're in the proximity of a Wi-Fi network, you may want to connect to it to save yourself a few pennies. And with that, I am going to turn it over to Tony. Tony, take it away.
Thanks, Dave, and welcome everybody. Thanks for spending some time with us this evening. We're going to basically cover some very quick marketing tips for you tonight, and we're going to cover four main areas. The first one, the bulk of the presentation, will be what we call Marketing 101. This presentation is designed for those of us who do not have degrees in marketing, but just want some ideas about how we can use social media and other things to help promote our business. Everybody's doing it, and it's a good reality check to figure out where you are basically in the universe of what's going on out there. We're going to be talking a little bit about Marketing 101, as I had mentioned. We'll also cover some information on what resources might be out there to help you achieve these things. I'll give you some information on where you can find and how you can create content to make sure that your customers are getting information they want to read, and therefore will come back. And finally, we're going to talk a little bit about first impressions. A little bit about what really, how comprehensive the term marketing really is when it comes to the average repair facility. And then finally, we'll have some room for questions. As we move forward in the presentation, please feel free to write your questions into the question box. Dave will be monitoring them, and we will stop periodically if somebody has something they'd like to know and address them on the way. Otherwise, we'll circle back at the end of the presentation and do it. As I mentioned, this is going to be done in 30 minutes. We're going to make it a short presentation, so it'll move along pretty quickly, but I think you'll find some pretty useful information. So let's get started on Marketing 101. The three major things you want to do before you do anything else is, first of all, to create a plan. As with any project, it's best to create a plan to help you stay organized. You want to set priorities with target dates and milestones to reach and to help you stay on track. And these could be things like seasonal service goals, special offers, or whatever. The idea is to don't go into this with just a shotgun approach. Sit down and think it through. Second thing you want to do is assess the landscape. You know, it's easy to get overwhelmed by the number of marketing tools that exist to help you promote your business. From social media, websites, and email to mobile, direct mail, traditional media, all of these can be used to help you build a communications plan with your customers. You need to identify which tools are best for you, though, and the time and costs involved. There is an expense when it comes to marketing, and you need to decide exactly how much you're willing to spend, then commit the time each week for building and executing your plan. You know, you have to manage your marketing just like you manage your business for it to be successful. And a big part of doing that is to think like your customers. Before you put any plan in place, you want to put yourself in the shoes of your customer. What would you look for in a repair shop? What would help create the best experience so you would come back? Why would you refer your business to a friend? What information do you need to make informed decisions on who to use? And think through these scenarios and build your marketing plan around these points. Again, you want to talk about both new and existing customers. Their needs are going to be different. So you want to think through the whole process. And again, think about it from a person walking into your business as opposed to a person working in the business. The next thing you want to do is to collect information. Be sure to collect the contact information, including email and cell phone number for each of your customers. This allows you to build that database of customers for all your ongoing communications. Many of you already do this through your management systems, and that's great. You want to make sure that you're getting a lot, especially email addresses, are very, very typical ways to communicate with your customers, and you'll find that many of them actually want to communicate with you via email. But don't overlook things like cell phones and texting. A lot of customers really appreciate getting a text, perhaps a status update, for example, on how their vehicle's doing, especially if it's having major service work. And you can use that to manage the customer experience as well as manage your marketing. You also want to encourage feedback. Ask your customers how you're doing. It's always great to hear good stories, but it's even more important to hear where you need to improve. An unhappy customer that receives proper attention will be a customer for life. Conversely, an unhappy customer who doesn't receive attention can be your worst nightmare. Use every method available to gather comments, whether it's a hard copy card with invoices, email, newsletters, social media. All these things can be used to show that you care about your customers and to get a good barometer on what they think about you. Finally, you want to be social. Decide which social media channel works best for you. You can create a Facebook page, for example, to promote your contests and discounts and share customer testimonials and highlight why your business is unique. And if you look around at some of the websites from various automotive repair businesses in the industry, you'll find a lot of them are using things like Facebook to be that outreach mechanism. Next thing you want to do is to advertise your specials. You can use email, social media, and mobile to promote limited time offers. Post special offers on Facebook and send out a text and email to help drive sales. This is a great way to reinforce the value of a customer sharing their contact information with you. And you might be surprised at just how effective this can be, especially when it comes to things like seasonal maintenance. And we'll talk about that a little bit. Next thing you want to do is promote the referrals. One great way to improve a customer retention and attract new customers is through a referral program. We used to call it bird dogging in the automotive sales business. Use a special discount to encourage your current customers to refer their friends to your business. For example, 10% off on your next visit, something like that. My dentist does that, as a matter of fact, and it works quite well. And I was really quite pleased when I got $100 knocked off of one of my dental bills because I had referred a friend and he happened to mention my name. So again, you can use that to help your customers refer people to you and, of course, help them build the business. And finally, you want to rally the troops. Make sure each of your employees understands the importance of customer service and retention. You can even collect feedback from customers on their mechanic, and you can recognize those who receive the highest ratings each month. This is critically important. Customers have to have as good a relationship with your staff as they do with you, and you want to make sure that you're always putting that best foot forward. That's something we'll talk about a little bit later on. You do want to make it personal. Find opportunities to build deeper relationships between customers and your business and employees. Automotive service is a relationship business. Customers are looking for you to provide information. They're looking for trust. They don't, and for the most part, understand their vehicles, and they're trusting you to make sure that they're getting that value for their service dollar. And you want to make sure you're providing that. You want to highlight achievements of your staff, such as ASE certifications, the length of time they've been there, Employee of the Month. You can do almost anything, but you can also recognize longtime customers and post photos of their happy visit on Facebook, for example. I've seen this in many repair shops, by the way, where they might even have a customer board where they're putting up family photos, if you will. That's a way to make your business, again, part of their lives. You want to engage your customers as much as possible. So it's very important to make it personal. It's also important to make it educational. Find ways to share tips about proper car care with your customers, from summer and winter preparation, ways to extend a car's life, or tips for teenagers. It's a good idea, for example, to hold an occasional event where you show people how to install a child's car seat, things like that, to give them information they don't normally have. Remember, most customers don't really understand their vehicles. To them, it's basically an appliance. It's a toaster. And you have to help them understand what that vehicle needs in the way of service and maintenance, and to make them comfortable with the fact that their money is being well spent. And by the way, if you take a look at ASE's Facebook page and simply repost it to your page or include it in a monthly email or newsletter, you'll get some of this information. We'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the content section. But lastly, you want to be creative. There are many ways for you and your business to stand out. You want to be as creative as possible. Think about ways to get involved in the community and share that commitment with your customers. Things like sponsoring the local Little League or getting involved in any sort of community activity is a great way to not only be a good corporate citizen, but again, to show the customers and the community at large that you care about them. You're involved in their lives. You're doing things to help them achieve certain goals or realities. And again, you want to make sure that they know that you are definitely part of their community. You're not just a faceless business that wants to take their money every time they get in. You want to be engaging. Customer Appreciation Days are a great way to do this, by the way, and the ideas are almost limitless. So you want to make sure that you're trying to be as creative as possible. I had mentioned that you want to highlight the capabilities of your shop. Highlighting certifications is a great way to do it. Your customers want to know that they're receiving the best service possible from technicians that are well-trained and certified. You can promote your ASE certifications prominently in your shop. We make it easy. We have the certificates that we give out to show what an individual is certified in and how long those certifications last. There's signage. There's all kinds of point-of-sale materials. But the idea is you want to build that customer trust and let them know that you are providing competent, capable, and quality automotive service at every possible time. If you promote your ASE certifications prominently in your shop and in all communications, I will guarantee you that's a great way to build customer trust. And our own research has showed us that customers may not be able to tell you what the ASE logo stands for, but they do identify it with competence and with quality. And that's an important advantage that you need to take advantage of, especially if you have certified professionals. You can also highlight things like the training that your staff goes to on a regular basis. Let them know that you are keeping your staff on the cutting edge of knowledge. They're keeping up with the changes. And show off your equipment from time to time. One very successful shop owner I know makes it a point of having shop tours periodically, where he'll bring a new customer in and he'll not only show them the facility, which, by the way, he keeps almost spotless, but also he'll show them the tools and equipment. Customer may not understand exactly what each device does, but knowing that the shop is properly equipped gives them a great sense of well-being, and again, reinforces that concept that their money is being very well spent. So again, you want to show off what you have and what your capabilities are as much as you possibly can. You want to also say thanks, and you want to be timely. Customer service is key. You have to have quality just to get in the game. These are all the buzzwords today in the industry. But you should be sending an email to your customers no later than within a week of their visit and thanking them for their business. You can also use that opportunity to gather additional feedback about their experience and again send out those special promotions. I personally just recently took advantage of a tire promotion because I happen to need tires. Our state has a safety check program, and my tires were to the point where I had to be replaced. I made the purchase based on a coupon I got that was a buy three, get one free thing. So those types of promotions do work. And you also want to leverage whatever other national events are going on with the industry. Some of you may have heard of the Car Care Council. The Car Care Council has car care check lanes twice a year in the spring and the fall. They used to only do it in October. Now they do it in May and October. And there's a big national advertising program built around Car Care Month that you can certainly take advantage of. They're going to be hearing and seeing press releases from the Car Care Council on radio, on television. They do tend to focus their promotions around those times a year. And you can sort of piggyback on these national events to generate awareness, again, for your capabilities and for your business. One of the things that we do here is we have National Automotive Service Professionals Week, for example, where we recognize the value that the men and women who keep America moving by doing the service and maintenance on their vehicles are recognized. And I think that's a great way to take advantage of the visibility that provides to, again, spotlight your own staff, spotlight your own capabilities, and the good people you have working in your business. But you know, it's not enough to just have all the right ideas. You also have to have the right resources to do all this stuff. And most of us, as I said, don't have degrees in marketing. So let's talk a little bit about resources. Let's assume you really think it's a great idea to have a Facebook page, but you have no idea how to make one. Or, God forbid, you haven't made a website yet. Well, if you belong to a regional association or one of the national associations that has local chapters, often you'll find that they have these kinds of tools available where they can actually help you with things like building a web presence and maybe even doing some newsletters and email marketing and that sort of thing. They can help you provide content that you can use that's very relevant. ASE is one of them. We're not exactly an association, but for example, on our website, you'll find lots of articles that talk to customers and talk to consumers about how to maintain their vehicles and answer some other questions. You can certainly use this content. It's absolutely free for the taking. ASE puts it out there for you to use. But again, it sets yourself up as a subject matter expert, as that go-to source for all the automotive service information that the consumers will need. If you want to get a little bit more sophisticated, there's probably some local marketing companies you can take advantage of. They are out there. Some specialize in helping small repair shops build things like websites and can even give you a turnkey program where they will incorporate things like your website and newsletters and emails and that sort of thing to have a more sophisticated approach to your marketing outreach. Again, everything comes with a cost, and you really have to decide exactly what level you can afford to play at. But again, no matter what level you are engaging your customers, it's important that you are, in fact, engaging them. Again, that's what's going to pay dividends down the road. You also need to remember that your staff is a great resource when it comes to new ideas. What sorts of things should you be doing? What sorts of things do they think you should be offering in the way of specials and maybe programs or other special offerings to help attract customers? You may find that somebody on your staff actually has some marketing expertise. And a lot of the, especially some of the younger members of the organization, may have quite a bit of experience on things like Facebook. They can be your content managers. They can make sure that you're doing the Twitter posts and the Facebook updates that you need to keep that information fresh. And that's really the key here is you want to, every time you touch a customer, you want to try to give them something new. Try to teach them something they didn't know before. Give them one little nugget to walk away with. They will remember it, they will appreciate it, and again, they will regard you as the go-to source when it comes for any needs they have with their vehicles. Finally, there's a great deal of industry resources. I had mentioned that ASE has some consumer articles that you're certainly welcome to use. those types of things are also available through things like the Car Care Council. You'll also find other organizations out there who maybe have an environmental bent or some other good message to deliver. And you know, it doesn't have to always be automotive. You can offer good advice on, frankly, how to keep your pets safe when traveling in a vehicle. There are things like seatbelts for pets, that sort of thing. Information like how to properly install a child seat. Those kinds of things that are peripheral to the automotive service experience can really be appreciated by your customers. I know some of the stuff that I've received from our local veterinarian, for example, focusing on how to travel safely with your pet, has been very informative and stuff I really hadn't thought of. Again, there's always timely information available around things like changes of seasons and summer travel and that sort of thing. So again, reach out to the industry if you don't have content and you don't have resources, and that's the kind of you may be surprised at exactly the kind of support that's out there. Remember, it's important to have relevant content on your website and newsletters. But what kind of content do you need, and how do you find it? Well, here are some examples of the kinds of things some of the top shops are using in their outreach programs to their customers. There's always general interest stuff. If you want to know what general interest auto is, I'll give you a sample. Go to msn.com and click on their auto section. You'll find things like, for example, they had a running report on the Detroit Auto Show. That type of information, new car information, is always of interest to consumers. You'll find things like trivia, any kind of neat little automotive history thing is always of interest. Again, some of this content you'll see as an example on the ASE website. Anything involving auto care is of interest to consumers. How often do they need to change their oil? Why do they need to check their tire pressure? Tell them things they can do so that the vehicle won't let them down at the worst possible time, and how they need to really keep up with maintaining what is probably the second largest investment most people are ever going to make in their lives. Another thing you want to think about when creating content is talk about yourself. Exactly what are your capabilities? Tell us about the business. How long have you been there? Are you a second or third generation owner? What's your staff like? What are their areas of expertise? Tell us a little bit about the people that are within the business. Who are they going to be meeting when they walk into the service desk? Talk about what services you offer and what certifications those individuals have to qualify them, to give your customers the best possible return on that service investment. Again, we've already mentioned special offers, but special events is something you want to keep in mind too when you're talking about content for newsletters. Things like the Car Care Council or Car Care Month I had mentioned are it's one of those, one of those things that again, almost anything will work. The special events could be anything from, say, a 5K race to promote, the Breast Cancer Foundation or juvenile diabetes. I personally get involved in lots of these types of activities. Again, you're an automotive business being engaged in your community. That's exactly what people want to see. And there's one final thing that's a successful promotion that you really need to keep in mind, and that's that first impression. The person who greets your customers at the counter is going to have the best possible opportunity, if you will, to make that first impression. And again, as the saying goes, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So you're going to want to make sure that your people on the counter are educated about what services you offer. They are well informed to help the customers to answer their questions, if you will, provide any information that the customer needs to feel good about that service experience. So you really want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward. Customer engagement is king. You're going to want to do that. I had mentioned that you want to have point-of-sale materials. Have those available to make sure that the customers are informed, again, of things like qualifications, what information you have, what special services you offer, anything about the parts that you use. Show and tell is really big on the service counter, and you really want to make sure that you are really explaining in as much detail as you possibly can what your customers are looking for and And again, explaining the service that they're paying for. Help them understand, again, that money is being well spent. And remember that image is everything when it comes to any business, certainly, but it's also very, very important on the service end of it. And really, that's about all I have at this point in time for the evening. I told you we'd try to get this done for you in 30 minutes. I wanted to leave a little bit of time for questions. And Dave, do we have anything that has come up on the question pane?
There is one that came up, Tony. I think that's pretty relevant. We're getting asked for, do you have an example of a shop that has a good website with great content that we can look at as an example?
As a matter of fact, I do. There are several. One great way to identify what the best shops are doing is to read the trade press. I'll give you an example. In the December issue of Motor Age magazine, they spotlight 10 shops. And if you take a look at every one of these shops' websites, you're going to see various levels of investment, but you're also going to see some really good ideas. One good one to look at is Pellman's Auto Service in Boulder, Colorado. He was actually on the cover of Motor Age magazine. And if you go to the Motor Age website, it's searchautoparts.com. That's searchautoparts, one word, searchautoparts.com. Look at the December issue, and you will see examples of 10 shops that have done wonderful things with working the World Wide Web and using all these devices we've been talking about. Kurt's Service, for example, in Oak Park, Michigan, really has done quite a bit with their website. I would encourage you to take a look at them. And again, if you go to the Motor Age website at searchautoparts.com, the December 2013 issue, take a look at those 10 top shops and read the stories about them. Some of the things they're doing will offer some great tips and will give you some great examples of what a good website looks like. Also, if you go to some of the members of things like AAA and the Automotive Service Association, some of their members are pretty sophisticated when it comes to using social media in a big way. And again, you'll see some good examples there.
Okay, Tony, I've got another one for you.
Questions?
Yeah, one more here.
Mm-hmm.
It is, do you have any recommended resources for help with blogging?
Oh, that's a good one. You know, I struggle with that myself. One of the things about social media, if you're going to get involved in it, is once you start, you have to have a commitment. What I will suggest to you is if you really want to have a blog on your shop or for your shop in some fashion, try to do it at least once a week, and maybe twice a week would be better. A blog can consist of almost any topic going on. You can be talking about what's going on outside, in the community. You could be talking about something going on within the automotive industry, something going on within your shop. Almost any topic will work. But here's one key. Try to keep it very short. Shorter is better. If you want to see an example of my blog, it's on the ASE website. Dave has one as well. And I rarely write a long blog. Most of mine are done within 2 paragraphs, 3 at the most. So try to make it a quick read. Again, talk about yourself. Talk about almost anything. Almost any topic will do. And if you find yourself getting bogged down, now we're back to that staff thing. Talk to your staff. Some of your younger members of the staff especially might look forward to doing something along those lines. If you have, for example, a personable service consultant, when they have some downtime between customers, it only takes a good blog could be written in half an hour, 45 minutes, and then just post it. So again, once you do start blogging, try to keep it short. Again, a couple of paragraphs is plenty. Talk about what's going on in the community. Talk about your business. Talk about something other than, don't make it a come and buy my tires thing. Talk about tire safety. Talk about, there was a study that I read somewhere, for example, that said tires that are more than 5 years old probably need to be replaced regardless of what the tread wear is. So you might want to do some searching on, for example, say a tire website, some of the manufacturers, to see what tips they have. And then you can build blogs out of almost anything. Again, if you want to see some samples of what we talk about, you'll find a blog tab on the ASE website at ase.com.
Tony,
Anything
one last question, I think, to round out the evening here, and that is, do we have any examples of what successful shops do to reward their employees and customers for referral business?
Yes. Again, the rewards can be almost anything you can think of. Obviously, for example, my dentist, when you refer a customer to them, they will give you a credit, actually give you a choice of either a $100 credit off of your bill or, say, a $50 gift certificate for a local very nice restaurant. Things like that will work. You can use cash incentives for employees, although be a little careful about that. I would probably do more. It could be time off, an extra vacation day, for example. For customers, again, discounts on service, or I was very impressed, again, with my dentist offering a credit on my next visit. Whatever, really, you decide yourself what is most cost effective for you, and based on, again, the amount of business that's being driven your way, you may want to adjust those rewards accordingly. But again, things like coupons for local restaurants or Home Depot, any kind of gift certificate or award. iTunes cards are sometimes popular, but any kind of a gift certificate or award that would be more appropriate for your customer's lifestyle seems to have the biggest impact. Try to make it as personal as you can, and it may vary from one individual to another. If you have a customer who sends you a referral and you happen to know they're into horticulture, send them or give them a gift certificate for the local garden store. Things like that will really have a positive impact because, again, it helps you connect and identify with your customers. And by the way, one of the things you want to remember to do is to acknowledge your customers' birthdays. If they have Facebook pages and they friend you and you friend them, you get automatic notifications when your Facebook friends have a birthday. So it makes it pretty easy. But again, anything that will key on a personal interest of the customer or the employee, frankly, has the most impact when it comes to any kind of a reward or recognition.
Thanks for that, Tony. And just to close the evening out here, just a reminder to everyone that we are in the middle of the ASE certification test winter session with registration going on through February 21st and testing going on through February 28th. For more information, just go to ase.com. And on behalf of Tony Mala and myself, Dave Kappert, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And hopefully you got what you needed out of tonight's sessions. There's always something that could be talked about more in detail going forward. And as a reminder to everybody, also, there will be a link to the recorded version of this. We've had several questions about the ability to use this for other people and students and so on and so forth. That's why we do post the recorded version. You should be receiving an email with details on that, as well as there will be a link to it off the ase.com homepage. Thanks again for joining us. Have a good night.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care.